We are in our 11th year of business now. So basically the way that All Reptiles started was because a couple friends and I were all in the hobby, and it was really difficult to find a place that had good information, a place that had consistent feed, a place that had all these supplies that was specifically for reptiles. So that we got together and we opened it. In the beginning, we were just like a retail store, so we sold the animals, but we also sold supplies. And again, over the years, I've added more services. So now we do a lot of reptile boarding for people that go away on vacation, and we take care of their animals for them. We also have a breeding facility on site as well. So we actually breed a lot of the animals here. Not all of them, because we have a really big variety that we offer here, so we're not able to do them all. We also support the local community, so a lot of our customers, they breed from home, and we buy back from our customers all the time. People come to us for advice, and we give them our advice on how to make them successful from home. We also do a very consistent supply of live feeders. So at any given time, you can come in and you can walk in and buy live rodents. We carry 3 different species, and they come in 8 different sizes. We do 80 to 100,000 crickets per week. We do 6 or 7 different species of worms as well, and it's all live. They come from a bunch of different sources. So we breed some here. I buy back from our customers that breed from home. There are also some animal distributors out there, and the animal distributors get their animals from a combination of other breeders that are breeding locally, as well as importing them from other countries. A lot of them also come in from the States, where they're captive bred in the US and then imported into Canada to distribute the market here. But they also sometimes come from further countries, like Indonesia is a really popular one. Yeah, Southeast Asia, Africa does exporting as well. Right now there's a really common trend of them coming in from Europe. All the ones that come in from Europe are captive bred. Bearded dragons are a really popular one. They're popular for if you have a young family, if there's kids in the family, but they're also popular for adults as well. They are a desert species. Not fully desert, they do require a little bit of water as well, but they are, they start off about that big, and then they get to about this big. They're an omnivorous species, so when they're young, they need a high protein content, so they will eat a lot of bugs when they're young, and then as they get older, they'll eat more and more vegetation. Bearded dragons also require a high heat, high UV, so they need special lighting that is sun simulating, and it has ultraviolet in the lighting in order for them to process their vitamins and metabolize properly. And one dragon will do very well in a 40-gallon tank. You can go bigger. If you have room to go bigger, you definitely can, but a 40-gallon is also quite sufficient, especially because these days people take them out all the time and handle them, right? So they get lots of time outside their tank. I'd say the biggest misconceptions that we get all the time are people are like, aren't all snakes poisonous? That's a really common question that we get. So first of all, poisonous is not the right word. The word is venomous. And absolutely, the answer is absolutely not. They're not all venomous. Most of them, in fact, are not venomous. Everything we carry in here is 100% non-venomous. So, when you watch movies and TV and you read things on the internet, you always get the scary things that are showcased, because that gives a shock value to the audience. But in reality, the majority of snakes out there are non-venomous and quite docile and quite friendly. Now, because I specialize here, we do offer animals here that are more advanced, and with that, it also means that they can be a little bit more aggressive, but still non-venomous. Another common misconception is, oh, reptiles are all slimy. That's also not true. Reptiles are, in general, none of them are slimy. Slimy means that they live in water. There are aquatic species, but by and large, they're all very smooth-scaled or rough-scaled in terms of desert species. But none of them are slimy. Slimies are more like fish are slimy, and there are some amphibians that are a little slimy, but not the reptiles themselves. Yeah, and another really common question we get is, the snake's out to get me, or they can strangle me, but a 5-foot snake sounds really big, but it's not. So ball pythons, which are really common and really popular, get between 3.5 and 5 feet, but they don't fully stretch out all the time, so they actually do really well in like a 50 or in a 40 or 50-gallon tank, right? Which is realistically not that big. It's a lot smaller than most people's fish tanks.
People think that reptiles are just kind of their own separate thing, that it's kind of something that you'd have to already like, but that's not really the case. A lot of people come in here first time, they don't really know anything about them, and with our knowledge and our help and us showing them and letting them handle certain things, they become really, really into it. Another good thing about reptiles is that for people who have allergies and things like that, who can't have like dogs, cats, hamsters, anything with dander, a reptile is perfect for you. You don't have any of that. They only shed. It's really, nobody's ever been allergic to shed that I've heard yet. Could be, but you never know. But as far as I know, there's none of that. The other good thing is that a lot of reptiles are easy care. So once you figure out how to do it, it's basically a piece of cake. Getting it down originally, and off the bat, might be a little bit harder. But here we're very thorough so that you understand exactly what you're getting into, and by the time you leave here, you feel very comfortable about it. We also don't let anybody leave here unless they feel 100% comfortable about it. So we're very good with that. But no, a big thing that we do here, aside from selling the pets, is getting people into the reptiles. So a lot of people think that frogs are just these really cool things. You can keep them, you can touch them, you can have them out, you can handle them whenever you want. Half of it's true. Frogs are really, really cool, but they're more of something to look at. It's almost like having a fish. So you design the tank, you make it how it can live, and you really don't want to touch it. If you ever do have to touch it, you should touch it with either gloves or wet hands. A lot of people don't know that frogs, their skin, it burns when our skin touches it if it's dry. So handling frogs is a big no-no unless you really have to, and if you really have to, it's usually for something like checking up on a frog for medical reasons or helping it out of a sticky situation. No pun intended.
The biggest thing is don't believe everything you read on the internet. So everyone always goes to Google, and Google has the answers to everything, but Google is often not right. If you are going to Google, you have to cross-reference your information, meaning get your information from a bunch of different sources, and then you have to use your common sense as well to figure out what works for you. Definitely just do your research and don't get addicted to it in the beginning, because having reptiles is very addictive. Sometimes you get one and then you want another one, you want another one, you want another one. One or two is really easy to care for, but once you get 4, 5, 6, 7, then it becomes actually a lot of work because there's just so many of them. Yeah. And people don't realize that in the beginning, and they get really excited and they get a lot of them, and then a year later they get kind of overwhelmed because it's too much for them. So I'd say definitely only do 1 or 2, live with the 1 or 2 for a year or so before you decide to get more.